All right, what's going on, everybody? Y'all know what time it is. We have a tech testimony today. This is one of those tech testimonies of someone who's going to be speaking about the power of networking and connections and how it helped be able to advance his career. So, one thing I got to say for everyone who missed out on the tech event last Saturday, the Grown and Techie event, it was incredible. Let me know in the chat who all got to attend the event. I'm sorry if you attended the virtual version of the event. It was trash, but check your bank account. We refunded everyone that got virtual tickets because the virtual experience was horrible. But in person was incredible, incredible. We actually, the event actually got sold out around Wednesday of last week. So there were over 100 people that still showed up at the door trying to get in at the door, thinking that they could get access at the door. Unfortunately, we had to turn them away due to capacity. Now for the next one is going to be April 12th. Already it's at 12 tickets, or excuse me, not 12 tickets. I was looking at something. Already it's over 50 tickets have been secured for the next event. So y'all, it's going to be incredible. The theme of the next event is crypto tech millionaires. Crypto tech millionaires. We're going to have a couple people that are going to be at the event are young millionaires, and they're millionaires. One of them is a millionaire through investing in crypto technology. Another one of them is a millionaire because they work at a blockchain or crypto company, and their company, part of their salary is equity, and the equity or part of their total compensation is the equity that they have. And through the equity that they have at the company, they are now a millionaire. This person's still in their 20s right now. And so we're going to talk about it. It's also the other purpose of the event, or the other benefit of the event. It will be a huge money making opportunity for everyone in the room. And I don't say that in a theoretical way or a way that sounds cute. Literally everyone that's at the event is going to be able to make a lot of money from that event and from some of the resources that they're going to gain from the event. So make sure you pull up. Just like the last event, there are going to be recruiters there, hiring managers, different leaders in the industry, different people that you all look up to, people that are really moving and shaking in the industry. So make sure you tune in to the event because it's definitely going to be incredible. Let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from, and either what you do in tech or what it is that you are looking to do in tech. And so that will be really good. All right, good stuff. That being said, y'all, so as always, have an amazing guest who's here with me right now. He's going to tell his story about how he's been able to advance in the tech industry, specifically on the tech sales side of things. We're always going to make sure we have the Q&A available for y'all as well. So make sure y'all have y'all's questions ready. Y'all, this is an amazing, amazing season. A lot of different companies are hiring. I want to say mass hiring, but that might be a bit of a stretch. But across the board, there are companies that are hiring in droves. We can say Salesforce is mass hiring right now. They're hiring about 2,000 tech sales professionals. Coinbase, which is a crypto or blockchain type of company. What else? Workday, SAP, Microsoft, Google. I already mentioned Salesforce. A variety of companies, Oracle, IBM, and I'm saying these off the top of my head. So if I seem like I'm kind of like a little rattle, it's because I'm literally just listing these off the top of my head, which says a lot. There are a lot more that I'm not even listing that are hiring. So again, let us know where it is you're tuning in from, and also what it is you either do in the tech industry or what you're looking to do in the tech industry. Sean Tez says from Louisville. I don't think I've ever been to Louisville. Is it pronounced Louisville or Louisville? Yes, it has to be Louisville.
Louisville.
Oh,
Louisville.
Louisville. Okay, I was wrong. All right. Yeah, so Louisville, Kentucky, customer success manager or sales engineer or account executive. Okay, that's good. That's good. So yeah, all of those typically fall under the tech sales umbrella. Customer success, sales engineering, and account executive are what are considered pre-sales, and customer success management falls under post-sales, but still technically under the tech sales umbrella because it's meant to elongate the relationship of the client to where they're continuing to purchase or at least continuing with their contract, or signing up for additional contracts. So either way, they help the company make more money with the client. So that's why it falls under the tech sales umbrella, even though they're not directly selling anything. All right. LinkedIn user, I guess no name, says Burlington, North Carolina. I didn't know there was a Burlington, North Carolina. Burlington, North Carolina. User acceptance test lead, future cyber GRC analyst. Okay, cool. So user acceptance test lead. I believe that's a SDET role, and that falls under the QA or SDET space. But future GRC, obviously that's cybersecurity. So I can say for Sean Tez, our tech sales program does cover customer success management, sales engineering, and account executive. Of course, the creator and instructor over the program, Horace Mackey, he's a director of enterprise sales at Microsoft. So pretty much the highest level you can get aside from VP of sales at the biggest tech company, biggest company in the world in general. He's a creator and the instructor over the tech sales program that also touches on all three of those components you mentioned: customer success, sales engineering, and account executive. And of course, we have the job placement assistance on the back end. LinkedIn user. We don't have anything in GRC, but I do know a boot camp that teaches GRC, and I've interviewed several of their alumni that work in tech. So if you are seriously interested in GRC, let me know. But if you're interested in the user acceptance test lead, which falls under the SDET umbrella, let me know from that, and I'll help you out with that as well. All right. Last one I'm gonna look at right now. We're gonna go ahead and jump into the interview. Ricardo says Corpus Christi, Texas. Aspiring SOC analyst. Let me give you a quick tip, and this is for everybody who's here. Don't ever list yourself as aspiring anything, especially not on your LinkedIn. Don't put it on your LinkedIn. Don't say it during an interview. Don't have it on your resume. You don't want to ever put that you're an aspiring anything. Because a recruiter or hiring manager, they don't want to hire an aspiring person. They want to hire a person that is that actual thing. So one simple way to put it, and I said this to someone during a coaching call earlier today, it was pretty funny, or at least I thought it was funny. It probably sounded stupid to them, but I simply put it was like, yo, if you're on a date with someone, and I'll use it from a woman's perspective. Ladies, if you're on a date with someone, and then you ask the guy, you say, well, tell me about yourself. And he says, oh, well, I'm aspiring boyfriend material. Or fellas, if you're on a date with a girl and you're like, oh, what do you do? And she's like, oh, well, I'm aspiring to stop dancing, or I'm an aspiring ex-dancer. It's like, what? And so, aspiring generally is just saying you're not that thing. And companies don't hire people, especially at this level, they don't hire people who aren't that thing so they can help you become that thing. They hire people that are that thing, that already fit the job, fit the job posting, or fit the requirements. So yeah, just remove anything that says aspiring. So David says, from QA Bootcamp, can you deep dive on LinkedIn Premium? Yes, we can do that. I'm gonna be doing a stream tomorrow with the community where it's gonna be a Q&A stream, just kind of going through everything with everyone, and we'll be able to do a deeper dive into LinkedIn Premium tomorrow. But today we have a great guest who's here, Francisco. We're gonna be talking to him, hearing a little bit about his story. Make sure y'all have y'all's questions prepared for him. He's been in the tech sales space for quite some time. Actually, Francisco, how long exactly have you been in the tech sales space? That's something I saw it on your LinkedIn, but I didn't actually calculate it.
About 4 years, all told, through about three companies. So I was at two sort of ed tech companies, one smaller, one larger, that acquired the smaller, and then for about the last 2 years at IBM.
Okay, cool, good stuff. I have a few friends at IBM. Oh, that's some good stuff. All right, wonderful. So you shared a little bit of this for me offline, but if you can kind of share with everyone, you know, what was going on with you in life that led you to want to pivot over into the tech sales space.
Yeah, I mean, I would say originally it was just I just had an interest in technology. whether it was devices or sort of uh, where technology was going in a lot of different areas. So coming up through my career, I did a lot of things, mostly sales roles and some leadership and management roles. And for about 6 years, I was in a consulting company. It was a little bit of a smaller consulting company. We worked in the hospitality space, but I always had an interest in technology, and I was always somebody who, even there, while we sort of pioneered in a way the development of a technology that we used to market ourselves, to close business, to actually be a little bit more better and efficient at our roles to our partners. And technology was always something that I understood on a pretty solid level, and I always had an interest in it. So as I grew my career there, I was there for about 6 years into a director role. It was always something that I wanted to do. um, we talked a little bit offline, like you said. Horace is a good friend of mine. He's a guy that sort of went down a similar track that I did just a few years earlier, where he went back to business school, sort of kind of gave himself the opportunity to pivot his career in a new direction. We had a similar kind of interest in technology, and all things related to it, uh, even back when we met about 15 years ago. So I watched what he did and how he sort of, you know, was able to refocus himself in a new direction, get into a new industry, and really just enjoyed what he did a little bit more. Um, and that was something that I wanted to do too. So I decided to go back to business school in 2020, slightly before the pandemic, and then literally started right about just a few months into it. I started in August of 2020 in business school, and then from that moment, because of the industry that I was in, I was laid off. So it gave me a lot of time to focus and think about the next direction that I wanted to go. And once I was into school and sort of 2-year program, uh, once I was going through that process, I knew exactly where I wanted to go. There was no reason to sort of try to look for something similar to what I had been doing, because I knew that I wanted to get back or be in a little bit more of a technology focused role.
Okay, so it's interesting because a lot of people didn't really, at least I can only really say from my vantage point, a lot of different people that are here in the audience in the chat, they had different ways that they found out about the industry or what led them to the industry. I'm actually curious, y'all. Let me know in the chat what inspired you, whether or not you're in tech already or you're transitioning into the tech industry. What opened your eyes or inspired you to want to get in the industry? Like, what was that moment for you? Francisco actually goes back. He goes back really far with Horace. Him and Horace have known each other for 15 years, and so we talk about networking a lot. We talk about the power of networking, the power of connections, the power of getting some form of coaching, whether it's a deep dive coaching and consultation, or if it's just something on a somewhat surface level, some good advice or tips from people. It's one of the things we talked about at the event this past weekend. But as a professional who is transitioning into the industry, and I mean now, you like you mentioned IBM and a couple other companies that you've been at since you've gotten in. How specifically was networking, whether it was with Horace or with someone else, how was it instrumental in your career?
Yeah, it was super important. I mean, specifically with Horace, like I said, he went through the process a few years ahead of me. So just from the point of him going into school, uh, you know, uh, understanding or having the benefit of him walking me through, you know, job fairs that he went to, uh, maybe even classes that he took, the way that he sort of focused on getting in at the right time of certain companies' hiring process, which is really important. Whether you're coming through the business school route or just in general, is you want to be targeting that at the right time. So just having somebody who's been through a process that you aim to go down, it's really useful to be able to follow steps, and not sort of, try to chart your own path when you actually might be going the the complete wrong way. So that was super useful. I mean, career wise, um, really in every sense, I think the thing that you have to be able to do is you have to be able to learn, from things that people have done well to get them in a good position. And then also sometimes you got to be able to learn, the things that you should not be doing. Learn from other people's failures. Otherwise, you're going to repeat them, or have your own failures. So, I mean, those kind of things are super useful. And even when I was in school and I would sort of talk about the things that I was doing with classmates or people that I came across, it was a little bit surprising to see how many folks were sort of not actually going about things the right way. And these are folks that were career professionals who might have, had really everything that they needed to find the kind of job they're looking for, but without that little bit of extra help and support, it's not always easy.
Why do you think What do you think it is that keeps people from getting that extra support? Do you believe and I know it's a myriad of factors, it varies person to person, but in your experience, which one would you say is the factor from what you've seen that plays out the most? Like, is it primarily people gatekeeping, or is it primarily people don't know that they need help, or is it primarily that people don't think they need it, or they undervalue getting the connections and networking and resources are?
It's probably a little bit of everything depending on, for certain different types of folks, right? Like, so you might have people who, let's say like me, my general personality is one where like I'm the guy that goes into a store and I kind of don't want to be asked if I need help. And maybe that's not a great thing. But like when I go into a store, I want to be able to find what I can find. And I could see a person like me struggling and wanting to do things on their own, uh, basically not looking for guidance, because maybe I think I know. And turns out if you haven't been through something, there's a good chance you don't know. You could have other people who are just afraid. There's a little bit of fear there, or sort of, they don't know where to start. They don't know who to ask. So that's for sure a thing. And then you do have some gatekeeping. I think that probably does happen, where you've got that element of people who, even though they've gone through something and they've pulled themselves up into a better career path or something like that, they just have no interest in helping the next person. So I would think it's a little bit of everything, and it just probably affects certain people differently depending on what their inclination is naturally.
Yeah. You know, I realized something. So, like you said, there's a myriad of different reasons, and it varies case by case, person by person. But something hit me about a year and a half ago, where I noticed that there were a few people on social media that follow me, and it's always weird. Like, there will be people that follow you; they only want to chime in when they disagree with things. Where it's kind of like, do you just not like me? And it's like, why do you follow me? That's always a
Yeah.
strange. I'm a person. I don't follow anyone where I strongly disagree with the majority of what they're talking about.
Right.
Now I don't mind being challenged in my thinking, but whenever it's like, okay, I clearly don't like this person, or I don't like what they talk about, I'm just not gonna engage with them.
Right.
Nevertheless, I noticed that there were a couple people that would always try to There'll be eventually. You could do something on Instagram called restricting someone. I'm not sure if you could do it on other platforms, but when you restrict someone, it's different than blocking them, because when you restrict them, they don't know they're restricted. So they will comment, they will message, they will engage, but no one can see anything they're saying. Like, no one. And they don't know that no one can see it. So they don't realize they're talking to themselves.
That's
And
kind
the
of
thing
great.
that's funny, even you don't see what they're saying. You just see that it just shows that they left a comment, but it says restricted, like the person, they're restricted. You can click and see the comment if you want, and then if you want to allow the comment, you can click approve, or you could just like leave them restricted. So it's people that have been restricted for years, and it's always hilarious to me. They're always talking to themselves in the comments, and I'm like, at some point they don't realize no one's arguing with them. It's like when you,
Right, right.
I don't know, but it's funny to me. Nevertheless, a couple of them, they are constantly commenting saying, "Oh, it takes more than that. You can't just do this or do that to get in the industry." And one of them, I ended up messaging them one time, and I said, "Hey, like, I'm confused. You've been following me for years. You've seen me at this point interview around 100 people that took my advice, got in the industry for my advice." And it's like you never jump in those comments and say, "Wow, that's incredible testimony, so insightful." You just ignore those. But whenever I'm just giving a random tip, you want to jump in and say, "Oh no, it doesn't work like that." And I basically was asking like, "Yo, like what is going on with you?" Nevertheless, I was thinking about it a little bit, and then it hit me. And this doesn't apply to everyone who's a gatekeeper, because there are people that are gatekeepers that just don't want other people being successful. But I've realized that there are other people where they're gatekeepers not because they don't want to see other people winning, but they're gatekeepers because deep down they like to feel like they're smarter than everyone.
Right.
And in their mind, they want to tell everyone it's harder than what it is. And it's definitely hard. It's definitely hard. But they want to make it seem like it's impossible, because to them it makes them feel like such a success story, where they're like, they want to tell everyone else like, no, 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 you it's not going to work out, because
Only
it
I.
makes them feel like, almost like they're a part of a documentary or something of someone who is a unique, a unique person who is able to make it out the trenches and be successful. And so I've seen that a lot, where it's like some people just want to feel really special. And if they see other people get in the same industry or make a certain amount of money, in their minds, it takes away from what they've been able to accomplish. And so
Right.
I've seen a lot of that, which is pretty interesting to see. The other thing I've seen is that some people put in a lot of work, whether they went to college to get in tech, they invested a lot of money, and instead of them seeing other people find other routes that still require work but don't take as much time, and doesn't like kind of send them through the ringer, it's like they don't like that. They're like, no, 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 you have to go through all of the mess I went through. There's no way you're going to be able to find a route or find an opportunity that I didn't have access to or that I didn't know about. And so it's been interesting to see or watch from my vantage point. I'm curious from y'all in the chat, what do y'all think it is, and what are some different scenarios that y'all have seen? Um, so I'll acknowledge a few of these comments, and we're going to get back into the interview. Dylan says the money is inspiring me. Are you talking about what inspired you to get in the industry? All right. You said seeing your interview and pursuing course careers. Okay, that's a great program. Dylan says, I'm just starting and I'm looking to the cybersecurity analyst. Okay, that's good. That's a dope jacket. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, this is from a colleague of mine. So it says rapper, athlete. It crosses it out and it says entrepreneur. I'm gonna get something similar made. I was gonna say something similar, rapper, athlete. I don't know, tech bro or something. I don't know, something. Uh, so I've had it for about 2 years now. This is my first time actually wearing it. Gatekeepers are in sales. Gatekeepers are in sales and career advancements. I see. I'm not really. I think I understand what you're saying, Shantez, but if you can clarify for us, please. Rashawn says they do not have the balls to go do the work themselves. They are lazy and want to just talk ish because they do not want to put the work in to accomplish it. What are you talking about specifically, Rashawn? I feel like you're talking about something different than what we're saying, or maybe you're addressing something Francisco was talking about. That's a possibility. That's definitely a possibility. All right, so what is your back to you, Francisco? So you were interested in getting in the industry. Now that you've been in the space, can you talk a little bit about your experience and talk about what are some of the pros that you've experienced that maybe you didn't know about before, aside from the pay? But then beyond that, what are some things that were either challenges or surprises that you were like, yo, man, I didn't know about this. This is pretty interesting. You think it would be good for people to be aware of?
I think a challenge and like a not necessarily like something that you can overcome and you're just past it, but like an ongoing challenge is in the industry, you basically always have to be learning, right? Because like by design, by definition, it's always and it's constantly evolving, right? There
Yes.
are some careers that you could be in, and they could be great paying careers, to be honest, where the book's sort of written on what it is, and you could maybe not know everything, but you can get to a level where you sort of know your stuff and you can potentially stop learning. I think in anything that's not a good idea or not good plan to think of yourself as like, oh, I'm done. I don't need to keep learning. But certainly in technology, it's not possible.
Yeah.
You will get passed up, you will become a dinosaur. So you have to consistently apply yourself to learn new things, new skills, and remain open-minded about literally everything you're doing. So whether it's as part of a sales process, it's the actual product that you're learning or you're dealing with, it's going to continue evolving. So that's one thing for sure that you just have to be ready for, especially if people are going to be on the far technical end of things. It's going to constantly be there. So in our role, I work with technical specialists, engineers, and those types every day, and those guys will have a laundry list of internal learning that they
Yeah.
just have to keep up with all the time because the product never stops evolving. And that's a part of it that's exciting, but it's also something that people have to sort of be prepared for because
Yeah.
it isn't going to stop. Um, well, sorry, was there another part of that I didn't catch?
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't
no. I mean,
answer.
that was the challenge point, or the challenge, or the thing that you feel is important for people to know as they're looking to transition into it. Yeah, I'm gonna be real, and I'm gonna actually say something. You can let me know if you disagree or if you agree and you want to add to it. This is actually very random, but this just hit me. But it's based on what you're saying. I think that it's actually a blessing that when people are trying to get in the industry, that it takes them a while or it takes them work.
Yeah.
And the reason that I say that is because I think about myself. Like when I was trying to get into the industry, before I got in the industry, I was not as studious. I wasn't a hard worker. Like I just really was not a hard worker. I wasn't studious. I was not a person who really networked much because I was popular on social media before I got in the tech industry. And so for me, what networking looked like was me going to a place and a lot of people coming up to me because they follow me. And it's like when you're popular, you think you're good at networking, but you're really not. It's almost like being a y'all know here. I always have horrible analogies, but it's almost like being like a really pretty girl who thinks she's hilarious. Everybody laughs at her jokes, and it's just like, oh my god, everybody just loves being around me. I'm so much fun, and it's like, are you so much fun, or is it just they like all the guys like being around you because they're attracted to you?
or
You know,
or or a bad boss or a bully, right? It's like you watch those movies and the guy's like he says a lame joke and his little peanut gallery they laugh or whatever
yeah,
behind him, and it's because they're afraid of him, right? It's not because
exactly,
you're not hilarious. It's because you're maybe intimidating folks or you've got some kind of power or influence over them and they make you feel that way. So yeah,
exactly,
that's true.
yeah, that's real. And so I think about how the work when I was getting in the industry, my first year before I just went ahead and did a boot camp. My first year, I kept applying, and I didn't even get an interview for an entire year, not with one company. And eventually, I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and fork up this money. Let me actually get some education, fork up this money. And what's interesting is that during that year, somewhere around the 7 or 8 month mark, is when because I was Lyft driving during the time. Somewhere around that time frame is when I started listening. I started like listening to books on Audible while I was Lyft driving, and like I listened to the Everything Store, which is with Jeff Bezos, his story and the story of Amazon. I listened to Elon Musk's story. Someone else just did someone else just wrote this story recently, but it was the version before that. Basically, the story ended at SpaceX and Tesla finally becoming successful. So that's where the story ended at, basically. And so I remember reading that story, the story of Sam Walton, who's the founder of Walmart. And I mean, the list goes on and on. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Richest Man in Babylon, The Millionaire Next Door, and about 8 other books that I read during that time. And I remember how it transformed my thinking and it transformed me as a person to where when I got in the industry, I was primed to be able to be a constant studier. And like you mentioned, I was primed to understand, okay, it doesn't stop at getting in the industry, but there is constant learning that's happening. One, because the company that you work at is constantly updating their technology, or they have a product roadmap of new features they're going to come out with. And if you're on the tech sales side of things, especially a sales engineer like I was, you're going to need to learn it so you can demo it. Or if you're an account executive, you're going to need to learn it and learn the pricing of it and learn how it benefits the customer and how it compares to other companies that have a similar product in the market. And so it's like, and then on top of that, there's like your company making internal updates, but there's also the industry making updates as
Right.
to new CRMs or new features and what CRMs are able to do. And it's like the list goes on and on. And then your company, it almost seems like every couple months your company has a new software that they're introducing to the team, and they're saying, "Hey, we're using this new software. We need everybody to learn it." And it's like, yeah, it's constant learning and constant adapting. And I think and I say this to anybody who's been working a while to get in the industry. I truly do believe it's to the benefit, because it almost Mr. Miyagi in a way, where it's like it's teaching you the nature of the industry before you get in the industry. Where it feels like, man, I'm studying this, I'm getting this certification, I'm learning this thing, I'm done this boot camp. And it's like, man, and you think you're doing all of this just to get in the industry, but in reality, I truly do believe a lot of it is preparing you to be the type of person that will thrive in the industry. Because I've helped people get in the industry even who got in and they did not last. And I
Yeah.
actually have an interview on my page. If anybody wants to see it, let me know and I'll send you the link to it. I have a short interview on my page. I was doing a street interview with a guy who he told me in the interview, he said, "Yeah, I got in the industry because I was watching your content, but I ended up losing my job about 6 or 7 months later." And I was like, "Why?" He said, "Well, honestly, I just was not on my game. I wasn't." He's like, "When I clocked out and I was just like, I'm living my life." He's like, "So after I lost my opportunity in the industry," he says, "I fought and I clawed to get back in." Because I got back into the company. He says, "Now it's total opposite." He says, "Now I take an extra 30 minutes to sometimes an hour and a half after work to study up on new software to make sure I'm on my A game, where I'll get up earlier in the morning to look at my calendar and look at customers or prospects that I'm going to be speaking to that day and kind of making sure I'm fully prepared." And he said it's night and day now. He's killing it and crushing it in the industry. He actually was at the event this past weekend. And so, yeah. So anyway, so I'm happy that you brought that up, Francisco, because that's incredibly important. People don't know that, and it's not really talked about enough. It's really not.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I agree. It's just one of those things where you're not getting the job shouldn't be the destination, right? You wanna get in there, you wanna grow, you wanna actually do a good job so you can stick around.
Mhm.
But there's not gonna be a point literally at any company. It could be a startup, it could be a big company. You're not gonna get to the point where you know everything. So you might as well just keep learning.
Mhm. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. I mean, it's to people's benefit though, because I mean, if it was an industry where people could just get in and just kick their feet up, then I mean, at that point, it would be a lot easier for people to get in and stay in, which then means it's like, okay, what really makes you unique? What really allows you to stand out as an individual?
Right.
So I want to make sure y'all are getting ready to answer or to ask y'all's questions in the comments. We're about to transition over in a minute to getting to you all's questions. So make sure you have y'all questions ready. If you already have your question ready, go ahead and drop it in the comment section, because we're already over time because of the time point that we started. So we want to make sure we get to y'all's questions quickly because we're going to be wrapping up pretty soon. Really quickly, I want to let people know, for those of y'all that are here in the chat, for those of y'all, if you have done a boot camp or you went to college already to get in tech, or you have a lot of experience either in corporate or the tech industry, maybe you lost your job, whatever that might be, we have job placement assistance through a list of different recruiters, hiring managers, and just other leaders that are working across a list of different tech companies where they're hiring for a variety of different roles. And so these are for tech sales roles, cybersecurity roles, data analytics, data science, product management type of roles, product owner roles, of course, SDET, QA, all of that. So if you're someone who you already have the education, you already have the education, maybe even the experience, or you don't have the experience, tap in with us because we do have job placement assistance. And typically the way the process goes, the first week is you going through our Tech Career Accelerator. It's a self-paced accelerator, so technically you could finish it in about 2 or 3 days. But the first week, you go through the Tech Career Accelerator. At the end of the accelerator, you take a quiz to verify that you actually learned and paid attention to what you went through in the accelerator. Now, the accelerator gives you everything from your making sure your LinkedIn is properly optimized, your resume, your cover letter, your interview skills, everything. Now, everyone that's went through the accelerator, even people who've done course careers or went to college or they've done some other program, every single person that's going through the accelerator has told me that 80% of what they learned in the accelerator were things they did not know. And they realized why they either weren't getting interviews or why they weren't getting to the final round. So the accelerator by itself gives you all the sauce you need to truly make yourself stand out in the industry, because today it's not about having the knowledge, because virtually everyone has the knowledge right now. It's what do you have aside from that really allows you to stand out. The accelerator gives you that piece, that extra sauce. Following the accelerator, again, it's roughly 1 week. After you take your quiz, you then choose 4 companies out of the list of 10 companies. So you'll see the list of companies. These are companies that are considered big tech companies, which typically means they pay a lot better. The compensation package is better, and it looks significantly better on your resume and cover letter, to where it just puts you in much higher demand and it raises your stock in the industry overall. Either way, after you choose your 4 companies, from there you get set up on what's called your vetting interview. In your vetting interview, you meet with the hiring manager. The hiring manager is going to go over the list of 4 companies. They're going to go over your resume, your LinkedIn, your cover letter. They're going to make sure everything is airtight, crystal clear, that nothing needs to be tweaked. If something needs to be tweaked, they'll let you know. From there, they're going to help you refine on that same meeting. They're going to help you refine 2 out of the 4 companies that are the best fit for you, as well as the roles within that company that you are most suited for. Following that, you get connected with a recruiter and hiring manager from both of the companies. You get connected with a recruiter and hiring manager from 2 different companies, where they're going to coach you specifically in greater detail on how to be successful in the interview for that company that you want to work for. Because again, you can learn in good detail generally what industry and recruiters are looking for, but they're going to help you like where it's specific to the companies that you're interested in working at. So they're going to coach you, train you up. Then you get a follow-up with a hiring manager or hiring leader, where they're going to go over your actual skills to make sure you actually know how to answer the questions that will be asked to you in the interview. And that's usually something that makes a lot of people fail at. Even if you have the knowledge, sometimes you don't know what specific questions are going to be asked. So you'll get the answers to the questions in the interview. Following that is where you get the referrals. You get the internal referrals into the companies for the interviews, and we support you the entire way during your interview process until you land the role at the company. And so that's typically the process. Now, that's where people, again, if you already have education, you already have the skills, even if you don't have experience, we're able to assist you with that. Now, for people that don't have any education, we still give you education on the front end through the bootcamp curriculum. Following the bootcamp curriculum is where you get access to the Tech Career Accelerator and the job placement assistance through that as well. So of course, the recruiters and hiring managers are not doing this because they're just nice people. We are paying them to do this within the service. So this is something, and this is why they are prioritizing people we're sending to them over just general people that are in the market. So hopefully that was long enough to allow y'all to get y'all's questions ready. So anyone who's interested, click the link below. If you want to look at the list of companies that we have, the list of roles that are opening, we have a job board on our website. So you literally can just click the link below, and on the website, you can go to where it has the job board, to where you can look at the list of companies, the salary ranges, what they're offering, all of that. And then you can schedule a call with a career advisor, so that way they can help you find the proper company. Now, if you don't know what role you want to do in tech, we also have a tech career quiz that's on our website. And it gives you an option of 10 different companies. And based on your answers, it filters you to 2 different options that are the best fit for you based on your answers. And so basically, simply put, we have everything there that you need to be able to assist you when it comes to transitioning into the industry, and specifically at a big tech company. All right, last thing, we have our tech event that's coming up April 12th. The last one sold out. So far, we're 2 for 3. 2 out of our 3 events have sold out. The third one almost sold out as well, but the last one just sold out. This next one is definitely going to sell out, because already over 50 people have gotten their tickets to this event, and it hasn't even been 5 days since the last event. And that's off the back of them liking the last event so much. It's incredibly impactful. There's a lot of recruiters and hiring managers that are at the event, where you're able to go there, build relationships, network with them. So that way, whether you have the skills or you're going to be getting the skills, you'll have those relationships in the bag to be able to connect with them later and apply to their companies. So again, either way, whatever it is you're looking for, go down to the description down below. You'll see the link down there. Click on whatever link applies to you. Of course, stay here on the stream so you can hear questions getting answered through myself or Francisco. But just click the link so that way you'll have it up in the tab, so you can tap in with that later once we end this stream. Because I don't want nobody DMing me later saying like, hey, what's that link again? It's like I told you, click on the link right now during the stream so you'll have that pulled up for yourself. All right, good stuff. So that being said, we're about to go ahead and get over to these questions. Again, y'all, we're not going to be on here for much longer. So make sure you post your question ASAP so you can get your question answered. This is a free opportunity. A lot of y'all have been trying to book or pay for coaching calls, and it's like, this is a way for you to get some free game, free gems. So take advantage of this opportunity. All right. So, all right, Sarah. Okay, cool. Sarah B says, continuous learning and evolution is a necessity in tech and life. Yeah, that's true. She continues on, says, I didn't get to connect with you, but shout out to you on the Grown and Techie event this past weekend. It was so valuable. Oh, you came to the event, but we didn't get to meet. Yeah, definitely. If you come to the next one, let's definitely flick it up. Let's take a picture. Yeah, but thank you for pulling up. Also, let us know any feedback you have for us as to how we can make it better. I have a crazy long list of things we're going to do with the next one to make it better. Alexander says, in Memphis, Tennessee area, working in data science, I especially realized this weekend how quickly technology is advancing. Even something as simple as ordering food at Checkers was handled by AI instead of a human. Yeah, it's advancing quickly, and it's a snowball at that, meaning that it's not just advancing quickly, but it's gonna be exponentially advancing faster. And so even myself, there's not a day that goes by that I'm not looking at AI news and tech news, and I still am not able to see half the news and half the updates that are happening. I'm still finding stuff out, and I'm like, how did I miss that? And I literally am on top of this stuff. And so it's, shouts out to those of y'all that tune into the Saturday Tech and AI News. We do a stream every Saturday. Myself and Ash, who's an AI specialist, and we go over updates in the industry with technology and advancements and drama as well. You always got to sprinkle a little bit of drama in there for some entertainment and what's happening with these billionaires. All right, Sarah B says, I've been trying to tap into the Tech Accelerator, but running into technical issues, applying, waiting for feedback from your support team to move forward. So you're having some issues with applying. Yes, Sarah, message me. Message me on Instagram or LinkedIn as to what's going on, so I can help expedite the solution for you. All right, Joseph has a question. Joseph says, I just joined. Okay, you just joined. So I just joined, but what is Francisco's background, and what steps would you take now if you had to start from zero? Question from both Francisco and Cyrus. I'll let Francisco answer first. I've been yapping a lot.
Yeah, so my background was mostly sales and management. So I went through a lot of leadership roles earlier in my career. I would say if I wanted to get where I am now, definitely could have done that earlier. I would have probably went to business school a little bit earlier. I would have. I say one thing that I didn't do as much of, but anybody, literally anybody could do is like a lot of the stuff that you're talking about is just self-education. So whether it's finding specific skills to point you towards an industry that you're interested in, or literally like every big company out there, whether it's Apple, Microsoft, IBM, Salesforce, Amazon, every single one of these companies has their own technology available that you can learn for free on their platforms. And they do that for a reason because there are just literally not enough people that know it uh, to come in and fill the roles that they need. So, I mean, that's one thing for sure that I would do. And I've talked to younger folks, people that are still in school, even like people that I know who are much younger than me, is if you wanted to focus yourself on something like that, you could really learn an awful lot of any of these companies' technology for free before you ever get yourself in the door. And obviously, that would help in an interview.
Definitely. That's some good sauce. That's some good sauce. Yeah, I would say what I would do differently. You said what steps would you take now if you had to start from zero? If I had to start from zero, if I had to start from zero, and I would say what I would do differently if I had to start from zero, I would more closely get around people that are in the industry. Because part of what made it take longer for me was that I was trying to get in the industry. Like what kept my motivation high was the fact that I was broke and I was trying to make money, which is okay. But what would have helped is if I had relationships with people that were in the industry to inspire me more. Because again, my first year of trying to get in the industry, but I was being too stubborn. I was like, I'm not gonna pay for a boot camp. I'm not gonna do that. I think I could just get in. I kept refixing my resume. My resume actually looked like trash. It looked nice, but now I know it was a resume. It wasn't even getting past the applicant tracking system because of the way I
Yeah.
had the resume structured. It's one of those pretty looking resumes that it looks pretty, but it's just not going to get through the ATS. Uh, and so, nevertheless, it wasn't really until I had a friend. I met a guy because I had an idea for a business, and the business was an application based business, and someone connected me with a guy who could build apps, but lo and behold, he was a genius and like very successful in the tech industry. And he was helping me out just kind of out of passion. Like, he liked what my idea and he believed in it and was like, man, this could really help a lot of people. And I didn't realize how much money he had until something happened where I found out that we're going to need about $5,000 for something in the business. And I told him my elaborate plan as to how we were going to raise the money. I was like, oh, we're going to do a car wash and we're going to do, there's like all this elaborate stuff, like something off of like one of those, what's that channel, that station where they always have like those like hopeful, like crap. They also do cards. Like they have like those cards as well in the store, like a love card or a happy birthday. Anyway, I had like this elaborate plan, and he was like, after he listened to my elaborate plan, he said, "Man, look, I'll just pay for it." And I was like flabbergasted. I was like, "What?" Because he just said it so casually. He was like, "Dude, it's not that serious. Like, look, I'll just go ahead and pay for it." And that was kind of my first inclination of being like, "Whoa, okay." But then the second inclination was my car was about to break down as I was a Lyft driver. And I told him, I said, hey, look, man, I can't keep Lyft driving and doing this business. So I'm going to have to put it on pause so I can get a normal job. And then I'll get my car fixed up. And then once my car is like, completely fixed up, newer engine, I'll start Lyft driving again and I can focus on the business. And then he said to me, he was like, well, bro, how much do you make? He's like, you make like what, like 45,000, 40,000? He was like, how about this? How about you stop Lyft driving? You focus on the business full time. He was like, you make me a full 50-50 partner. He's like, I will just give you $40,000 a year while we're building this business until we get funding. And it was at that moment that I realized, I was like, this guy who I see as my peer, I'm Lyft driving 6 days a week, killing myself. And this guy is literally just telling me what I'm doing for all of these hours every day. That's basically side money to him, where he could be like, "Oh, look, I'll just give you the money. Yeah, you just stop Lyft driving. I'll just give you the money." It was like at that point in time, I felt emasculated, but not in a way where I felt disrespected, because he meant well and I wasn't upset at him. But it was at that moment that my eyes were open to realize how big of a gap there was between how much money he had and how much money I had. And at that moment is when it really opened my eyes to be like, yo, I need to. And I literally told him, I said, bro, I'm sorry, bump this business. I need to do what you're doing. I need to get in this industry where you're making all of this money. And the reason why I bring it back to networking and relationships is because the insights to realizing how his life was and how he was moving and what he was able to do and things he was buying for his home and dates he was able to go on with girls that I knew, that I introduced him to, and he was able to take them to places I had never heard of. And he wasn't a fancy type of guy. He was very low key. He just had a lot of money because he worked in tech. That inspired me on a deeper level to realize I needed to do absolutely anything I could possibly do to get in the industry. And if I had to empty out my bank account and work really hard and study really hard, it was worth it. And so I would say if I could go back, I would have told myself to have networked sooner and got relationships, because those relationships would have both inspired me more and it would have provided education, resources, referrals, all of that good stuff. So I would have went that route instead. Let me see. I'm thinking about doing cloud engineering. Okay, I'm seeing someone said networking engineer for. Do you all work with networking engineers for career placement? Yeah. So let me do this really quickly. I pulled up the job board, so this will give you a little bit of an example. And the job board is ever changing. It's changing every single week based on availability, based on if the roles are still open. And I'm not the person that changes it, so please don't ever DM me asking about a certain company or role. My team is always updating it based on what the recruiters and hiring managers are telling us and based on what's actually on the websites. So simply put, shouts out to my team and the job board. You can come in here and you can look at the list of titles. So networking engineering, and I saw someone mention cloud engineering. Both of those fall under DevOps. So if you want to look at the list of openings, specifically with companies that we have connections with, you just want to look in here. And so site reliability engineer, there we go. Networking engineer, senior automation. This is senior level. So if you're not senior level, it probably won't be a good fit for you. Networking automation engineer, that's probably along your speed of what you're looking for. Yeah, so just go through here. Cloud engineer. I see someone mention cloud engineer. So yeah, and in terms of what bootcamp or program to do, I'll give you two suggestions. One, we have a fully comprehensive DevOps program where you learn everything through the program. That's from cloud, Linux, systems administration, networking, everything within the program. And we have the job placement assistance on the back end. But we also have other options as well if you want to do another option. And that is with Yellowtail Tech. I've interviewed several of their alumni. They're a really great program. So as y'all know, I'm halfway indifferent. Like if there's another boot camp that we recommend, I don't mind if you do that boot camp or if you do ours. The reason why I don't mind is for two reasons. One, I don't mind because I know that the boot camps we recommend are quality, and they're either as quality as our program is, or they might be basically hover around. It might be a little bit less, a little bit better. Either way, they're quality enough that the recruiters and hiring managers that are within our network that it's acceptable. Long story short, it's acceptable. So the other reason why I'm fine with referring you to them is because when it comes to Tech is New Black as a business, we are affiliates of these boot camps. So you get a discount, and Tech is New Black is still something to where I'm still able to pay our staff, pay our team to where they're able to continue to function and do all of the cool stuff we're able to do to help people, like our events and the podcast and other stuff. So either way, whether you do our program or you do one of the other ones we recommend, that's entirely up to you. Either way, whether you do another program or you do ours, we have the job placement assistance on the back end for you to be able to help you out. So, are we gonna say Francisco?
No, nothing. That's good stuff.
Let's say something. All right, super cool. All right, so we're gonna get to a last two questions, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, y'all. Wrap it up. All right, so Antoine, to double down on your question though, please don't go to college for cloud engineering. Not that going to college is bad to do cloud engineering. It's just you don't want to take 4 years to get a career that you can be in within 9 months from now, you know, or a year from now, if we want to put extra time on it, just to be conservative. Love Phoenix. Thank you all for the information. I desire to get into tech this year. I signed up for Verizon edX Skills Forward. Are you familiar with this program? I've never heard of it. Have you heard of that, Francisco?
edX.
Specifically, it says Verizon edX Skills Forward.
It sounds like it's one of those sort of programs though, where the Verizon's probably trying to do what they can to attract new applicants. So that's good. I mean, there's a lot of that out there. That's for sure. Every one of these companies is creating some kind of a platform, because even if you go to school, even if you take a boot camp, or even if you sort of do some kind of learning, it's an awful lot more useful to have people out there learning your stuff so that the onboarding process is easier, and just getting them up to speed is easier when they get in the door. So yeah, for sure it would make you more attractive candidate.
That's good. A little bit of a breakdown. It's a collaborative. Oh, this is way too much. Wow. Why does all these generative AI platforms do this? Short answer. Trying to give a whole spiel. All right. It's a free online training program partnership with edX, offering courses to help individuals gain job ready skills. It includes career development resources and is open to U.S. residents 17 and up. So yeah, so this is good. The only thing I will say is the only caveat to it is, of course, when these companies do this, and there's nothing wrong with this at all, but when they do it, usually you're learning the stuff specific to their company
Yep.
and not generally to what the market wants. So the only hindrance could be that don't think, oh, I'm getting this education from Verizon and this is going to be applicable to most companies in the market. No, it's going to be very specific to Verizon. And the companies do it that way on purpose, because they're not going to give you an education where you're going to go off. They're not training you so you can go off somewhere else and work for their competitor or work for another company. They're training you in such a way that it keeps you loyal to them. A lot of tech companies learn from universities where they noticed, because what was happening traditionally was, especially before the boot camp started blowing up, was that students would graduate a college or university excited to work at a tech company. They would get at a tech company, and what the companies noticed was that two things. One, they noticed, okay, we have to double down on training you because the college you went to taught you the generic version of these skills. But now we have to double down on teaching you further so you know it specifically to our company. The other thing they noticed was that they didn't have loyalty from a lot of their new hires. But they noticed that new hires were very loyal to their colleges. They would walk in wanting to wear their college letterman. They wanted to always say what college they went to. They wanted to watch the sports game from their college. Colleges have done a phenomenal job of, with their brands, of making people feel a sense of loyalty to their college. When a sense is really just a school, it's a business, but it's a business that's gotten you so involved that you buy products from them, you buy lettermans, you go to their games. You're basically, they're monetizing other ways, just like a business. They found other ways to monetize from their students. That being said, a lot of tech companies discovered that, and they decided to create either their own boot camps or their own trainings, where in their training, similar to college, they have it to where, I'm not gonna say brainwash because that's the bad term, but they have it to where like you fall deeper in love with their company. And also the education is very skewed towards their company to where it's not as beneficial across the whole industry. So that way, the goal is for them to increase loyalty to their company. So just be a little mindful of that when it comes to that. But as long as you're fine working with Verizon and knowing that if you want to leave or go somewhere else, you're definitely gonna need to upskill and kind of like cross skill. Then that's totally fine. Okay, cool. Lex said, I'm taking a cybersecurity course now. I definitely like your support after I get my training done. Hey, look, we're here for you, but I say this: don't rush. Like if you're as soon as you finish a program, don't rush to come to us, which I shouldn't say because that doesn't serve us. But I'm all for giving you like what's beneficial to you. I would say based on your timeline, you try to get in the industry yourself because it'll be good. Because one, depending on the program you're doing, depending on depending on the resources, you might be able to get in the industry even without our job placement assistance, which is good because that means you save money and it's just good for you overall. But the other thing is that if you don't get a career, it's also beneficial to you because then when we help you, you're able to see the value in what we're doing for you based on what you didn't have access to before. So either way, it's a win-win for you. If you take at least a couple months to try to get in the industry by yourself before you come to us after you finish your program. Again, it doesn't serve us to tell you that, but at the end of the day, I truly, care about helping y'all and giving y'all like what's most beneficial and most helpful. GCP, is it the same for Google certificate? Más o menos, more or less. All right, good stuff. So I don't see any other questions in here. So Francisco, bro, want to give you the floor for you to be able to share anything that you either haven't gotten to share or just a piece of advice that you feel is really important for people to be able to walk away with and chew on.
Yeah, I would say just the biggest thing is if people want something, um clearly if somebody's watching an hour long broadcast like this, they're sort of focused enough to be paying attention in the right places. So, just to stick with it, keep learning like we already talked about. And then, have some resilience because we didn't really touch an awful lot on it, but it's not always going to be easy. There will be sort of ups and downs and downturns and things like that. But if you're constantly evolving, if you're growing, professionally and as a person, you can manage your way through that, and you can kind of have success. But I mean, those are the biggest things. Is take the education seriously, the challenge of skilling yourself up seriously, and then like you said, follow somebody's lead, or try to do as much as possible to give yourself an upper hand, because there's no reason to try to be a pioneer on something, unless you want to start your own company. But even in that case, you can follow things that other people have done and been successful with. So just learn from others. It makes it easier for sure.
Definitely, 100%, 100%. All right, good stuff. All right, guys, gonna go ahead and let y'all go. Thank you so much, Francisco, man, for coming on and taking your time to answer some questions and be able to share a little bit of your story with people. Again, y'all, make sure y'all tap in with the Grown and Techie event that's coming up April 12th. This one is going to be selling. It's probably going to sell out in about 2 weeks, but even aside from that, the pricing is going to be going up for the event. It's currently early bird right now. The early bird tickets are limited, so make sure you get them so that we're able to save yourself some money when it comes to the event. Tap in with us. We're going to have some people that currently work in tech, and they're millionaires right now. Uh, they're millionaires right now. They're all under the age of 40, and one of them is under the age of 30. And there's going to be other people who's going to be there, and they're going to talk about how they strategically chose the tech companies that they worked at, not off of their salary, but off of the equity, which they predicted was going to make them millionaires, and their predictions ended up being right. It is going to be a master class of education for everyone. So that way you'll understand not just jumping at a company. Now, of course, early on, take a good company that you can get. Your first 1 to 3 companies, just take some good opportunities, learn, grow, network. But definitely there's going to be a master class for y'all that's going to teach you how to become wealthy in the industry. One of the people, as an example, one of them had an option to work at NVIDIA. They were choosing between NVIDIA and another company I'm not going to name because it's going to give it away. They chose the other company instead of NVIDIA. At first, they thought they made a bad decision because if anybody's been paying attention or has been looking at anything the last couple of years, NVIDIA, the majority of NVIDIA's employees are millionaires. When I say the majority, I literally mean over 80% of their employees are millionaires. And 70% of those millionaires are deca millionaires, which is a term a lot of people don't talk about or hear, where basically they're all not just worth, but worth basically, but they all are worth over $10 million. And they have it. Let me not say worth, because somebody could be worth something and not have that money, but they actually have that in within the equity that they have within their company. And so so the person was choosing right between 2 companies. Now they still are a millionaire through the company they're at now. And based on predictions in the market, they're probably going to end up making more money than they would have made had they chosen NVIDIA. So understand, y'all, it's going to be an amazing masterclass, great networking, recruiters, hiring managers, movers and shakers in the industry. Make sure you come out. But aside from that, there's going to be a huge money-making opportunity at the event. And I don't say that lightly. I do not say that lightly. Everyone who's at the event is going to have an opportunity. And even opportunity feels like I'm downplaying what it is, but an opportunity to be able to make a lot of money when it comes to technology, crypto, all of that. And so make sure you come out, tap in. It's going to be a good time, good food, good drinks, all of that. Aside from that, thank y'all for tuning in. Click the links down below if you are interested in job placement assistance. Whether or not you need bootcamp education, the team will be able to help you out with that. Aside from that, thank you again, Francisco, so much for coming on, sharing your story. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Thanks.
All right, everybody. Peace.